Hello everybody to another review video. My name is Roland and today I am unboxing and looking at the new Age of Sigmar subscription from Hachette and Games Workshop. I just received my first delivery with issue number 1 and 2, and we are going to have a look at both issues today. First off, let's have a look at issue number 2. What you get in issue number 2 is this magazine here, full color, and on the rear of the cover you get a preview of what is coming with issue number 3 and issue number 4. You also get 10 miniatures and their bases, round AOS bases, and 10 gut rippers for the orcish faction of Destruction. Let's put that to the side. And for issue number 1, the first thing you are getting is, of course, also the magazine. You get this little leaflet here talking more about both the armies of order and the armies of destruction. We're gonna have a closer look at this in a moment. First, let's finish off what we are getting. You get 6 white D6 dice. You get 3 bases for the miniatures. And you get 2 miniatures, one for the Stormcast Eternals, and the other is the leader of the Forces of Destruction, together with another little miniature, which is a stab grot. So let's go and have a look at this. What you get with number 1 as well, before I forget, is this poster and leaflet advertising the whole subscription, and your first battle mat to fight your battles of Age of Sigmar. Now let's have a closer look, starting with the battle mat. And you can see this is a paper battle mat. When you unfold it, you get a pretty large mat. For what it's worth, one of them is a reddish desert style color, and the other side is a different one with a swamp, some swamp area, basically a battlefield with some markings on top. But I'm sure they will tell us what these markings are for. Now, when we look at this little leaflet, it says there's a poster inside. So let's have a look. When you open it, it is basically advertising what you are getting with your subscription. Again, full color. And when you unfold it further, you get some more in terms of description of what you are going to get for the standard subscription of this magazine. I have subscribed to the premium option, which gives you 4 additional large kits that retail at £70 or around about there on Games Workshop. And when you completely unfold this leaflet, you get a pretty large poster with a Stormcast Eternal fighting the forces of evil. Let's get this back together. Put it aside and let's have a look at the magazine itself. Now, the magazine is in full color. talking about the Age of Sigmar as a game. It is pre-punched, so you can put it in the binder that you will get with another issue. Talks about the Stormcast Eternals and the Cruel Boys, the orcish faction that we're gonna start with. The Knight Arcanum, which is the leader of the Stormcasts, and the Killer Boss with Stabgrot, which is the leader for the Cruel Boys. So then the usual how to build stuff in every starter set from Games Workshop. The assembly guide for the Knight Arcanum. Painting guide for the Knight Arcanum. Paint guides, reference, and basically advertising the game. And the first game that you play with the 2 miniatures you got. And now we know why there is markings on that other side. It basically tells you where to put your models and how to fight your first basically scripted game. A little bit of a narrative depending on the 2 possible outcomes. Another overview of all the miniatures you are getting with the subscription. And the preview for issue 2 and 3. Now I want to come back to that poster because those are the subscriber gifts and the premium subscription, and you get these 4 or 5 kits, and at £2 extra per issue for the 80 issues, that is 160 quid for miniatures that are basically worth almost double. So I thought that was a good value for my money. What also comes as subscriber gifts or in that miniature subscription is toolkit, a free ring binder with dividers, a mug, some brushes, and a free miniature. So let's round this up with this little leaflet talking more about the armies. And here is a bit more of an overview of all the things that you will get. And on the left and right hand side of this full overview, you get a description of what is what in this subscription, and you can basically tick the boxes of build, paint, play that says I have this, I have built it, I have painted it, and now I'm playing with it. Same thing with the Sylvaneth and the Caradron Overlords. So, for example, for the Sylvaneth we get an Arch Revenant, Branch Witch, Spirit of Durthu, Tree Revenants, Spite Revenants, and Ylthari's Guardians. I will have a look at those later on. Now, when you look at the Forces of Destruction, you are getting Cruel Boys, you get Iron Jaws, and you get Gloomspite Gits. So very orcish on the Forces of Destruction, and very much a big selection of miniatures with a heavy focus, of course, on the Stormcast Eternals. Now, finally, let's look at the miniatures. Let's put this away. And the miniatures we are getting are the Knight Arcanum, and a Cruel Boy leader with a stab grot. That is it for the first issue of this subscription. And let's go to the second one. Obviously, for both subscriptions, for both sets of miniatures, you are getting the bases along with them. So, and also in this case, in this issue of the subscription, you have a full color magazine essentially. I'm not going through all of this. And the preview of what's coming next. Next issue is the Vindictors and the first paint or the first paints for this subscription. And the Orruk Cruel Boys miniatures, just like so. Essentially the standard miniatures you would get from an ordinary purchase at your local Games Workshop store. So what do I think about this subscription? Let me put this together again. And looking at the subscription, we are talking about $8.99 or $10.99 per issue. So let's start with the $8.99. You are getting a lot of value from this. I am not going to repeat the calculations some websites already made. You are getting the whole place, the whole subscription of 80 issues. You are getting miniatures worth over £1,400 or so, 1,300, 1,400 pounds. And you are paying just over 1,000 if they calculated that right. So you are getting this at easily a third off, even with the issues that only have 2 paints in them, where you would make a little bit of a loss potentially if you're calculating like that. And yeah, I think it's a great idea to get people in the hobby, especially people that are not traditionally looking at tabletop games, but are saying, okay, I'm getting a couple of miniatures, I build them, paint them, and before you know, you have a pretty large army for 2 factions of Age of Sigmar. Premium subscription, even more so. You are getting large kits that are very, very nice and also very, very expensive. I looked it up, the Orc War Boss on that. Let's have a look at this. The Gordrak Fist of Gork, basically sitting on a dragon. £75 for that one. The Krontis Son of Dracothion equally, I think £75. And as well as the Grunstock Gunhauler. So you're talking about miniatures worth way over 200, 300 quid for an extra £160. So what usually tends to happen, a lot of people are buying a lot of issues where the value for money is the largest and sell them on eBay. I don't think that is a very nice thing to do. I wouldn't do it because what do I do with that? And the few extra quid you are making on eBay from this scalping essentially, really not worth the hassle in my opinion. But then again, everybody is different. Now the other thing, the selection of miniatures. And of course, you would possibly have very different opinions what should go in, what should not go in, but the selection is what it is. And for what it's worth, there is a lot of interesting and great stuff in there that you can get much, much cheaper than what you are paying if you are going into the actual Games Workshop store or their online store. So does this change my look at Games Workshop of the game or the games themselves? No, not really. And the reason is I found my gaming circle to be very, very diverse in their gaming, and getting a couple of Games Workshop miniatures to play Age of Sigmar or any other game, not necessarily using them for Games Workshop rules and so on. It is a really great thing in my opinion. Do I suggest you're getting them? Well, if you have the £45 per month for the premium subscription and the £35, £38 for the standard subscription a month, go for it. You won't get this much cheaper, especially on eBay. You will pay more for it, and subscribing directly from the distributor Hachette, you also get those free gifts that only increase the value of this subscription. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I will see you all on the next one.